Hello and welcome, F5 community. It's not just Wednesday, my dudes. It's August 3rd, and today is the date on which F5 releases its quarterly security notifications. In November of 2021, F5 began to release quarterly security notifications instead of ad hoc CVEs in an effort to simplify our customers' mitigation steps and to minimize response times and outages in the environments that they protect. At DevCentral, we're teaming up with F5's Security Incident Response Team, or CIRT. We'll be delivering coverage throughout the day to bring the absolute most up-to-date information to the community. This morning, F5 has disclosed new vulnerabilities and fixes for products in the BIG-IP, BIG-IQ, and NGINX product families. Customers should check the security advisories on Ask F5 to get more information on these issues and to get details on recommended mitigations. We recommend that customers ensure they are running the most current and applicable version to optimize the security and performance of their systems. Quarterly security notifications align the public communication of vulnerabilities and security exposures across F5 deployable offerings into one date each quarter. Vulnerability disclosure and remediation is a key part of F5 security practices and a reflection of our efforts to stay vigilant and focused on constant improvement. Our next quarterly security notification will be on October 19th, 2022.
Hello and welcome, F5 community. Once again, it is time for our quarterly security notifications. I'm Aubrey King with the DevCentral team, and I am joined today by Aaron Brailsford from F5's Security Incident Response Team. So we wanted to talk to you a little bit about the latest issues that have come up in the quarterly security notification. And Aaron has a little bit of a presentation to swing us through. So I guess, without taking up too much time at the beginning, Aaron, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
It seems like we talk these days like every other day.
Pretty much daily. It's good. So yeah, we've just got a few slides and a little bit of information about the QSN. As you may or may not be aware, late last year, around November, F5 transitioned to an approach of quarterly security notifications. We're doing that to give people more chance to prepare so that these things are planned and you can have a predictable cadence where F5 is going to disclose issues, rather than before when releases were tied to just versions coming out and it was hard to predict, and that makes it hard for people to plan their maintenance windows and plan to be staffed accordingly. So this is the third, I think, of our sort of predictable cadence QSN releases. We had January, May, and now August. There are 22 issues in this QSN, and right now you should see that the overview article has been published, the numbers there on the slide, and also the schedule has been updated with the next QSN date out in October. In that way, we're ensuring we're always giving people 3 months to plan ahead, right, for the next QSN that's coming. Like I say, there are 22 issues in this QSN, but I want to stress that there is no impact to any of the F5 services, so Distributed Cloud, Threat Stack, Silverline, Shape, nor is there any impact to our next-gen products, so like Next CNF, Next SPK, Aspen Mesh. And most of the issues have been already fixed in the versions that are released on downloads.f5.com and in cloud images. So just to break those issues down just a little, the good news is we have no critical vulnerabilities in this QSN. That doesn't necessarily mean you don't need to pay attention to the QSN, but it is a good thing, and I think it speaks to product and security maturity within F5. We do have 12 highs, though. All 12 of those highs are denial of service vulnerabilities. They're in BIG-IP predominantly, and pretty much anytime you see a denial of service in BIG-IP, it's going to come out to be a high. We have 8 mediums and a low, a security exposure. I think worth calling out, we have 19 that affect BIG-IP, 3 that affect BIG-IQ. A couple of those are common. They affect both things. And one of the vulnerabilities that affects both BIG-IP and BIG-IQ is specific to AWS. So it's only hosts deployed in AWS. Big IP has fixes in the cloud marketplaces. Big IQ does not yet. It's also worth pointing out that we have two Nginx issues here. That's not Nginx Plus or Nginx App Protect. It's actually Nginx Instance Manager and Nginx Ingress Controller. Specifically those two Nginx products. I think it's also worth pointing out that although we have unauthorized access and privilege escalation on this list, they are all authenticated vulnerabilities, so you already need access to the control plane of the big IP to be able to exploit these vulnerabilities and elevate privileges, or in the case of unauthorized access, retain access beyond the validity period of your token. But you needed valid user accounts to get a token in the first place. 3 of these were found externally, but the vast majority of these were found internally by F5 as part of code review and security practice. So there's nothing huge here to worry about. Okay, so the other thing I want to try and stress is that if you're on the latest release in a branch, so if you're on 16.131 or 15.161, you already have all of the fixes from this QSN. And that's going to be the message going forward with QSNs. If you're up to date in your branch, you will have all of the available fixes when a QSN happens. The only caveat to this, well, there are 3 caveats actually. 13.1.5, version 13 does not have all of the fixes for all of the issues in this QSN. There are a handful of vulnerabilities that aren't fixed in 13.1.5. They should be fixed in 13.1.5.1, but that isn't out yet. My advice, honestly, would be to look to move to 14 or later as soon as you can. 13 goes end of software development at the end of this year. That's coming around real fast. And I know that upgrading a fleet of machines can take a while, so really try and plan to move off 13 if you can. 16.131, the only caveat there is that it's not yet in the cloud marketplaces. It will be as soon as it can. We essentially have a bottleneck with how fast we can publish everything into cloud marketplaces. And 17.0.0.1 there is just called out because 17 isn't yet available in cloud marketplaces. So it's impossible for you to have been running a vulnerable version of 17 from a cloud marketplace instance. And when they do drop into the cloud marketplace, it'll be a patched release. F5OS and Nginx, the fixed versions are called out there as well. And Big IQ, if you're on 8.2, you're in good shape.
Okay. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for stopping by on an important day. I guess that's fantastic that we don't have any criticals this time around. I'm sure all of our customers will be very excited to learn that today. And I hope we can count on you maybe next quarter for a similar update. What do you think?
Absolutely. I'll be here.
Thank you so much for tuning in to DevCentral's coverage of the quarterly security notifications. I'm Aubrey King with DevCentral. Have a great F5 day.